You are the topic too.
Come on, sit down. I almost chugged my whole coffee.
That is your problem, not my problem.
Take 14. If you're new to the channel, I'm Jimmy.
I'm Ta.
And we are currently traveling full time. We stay in each location for about a month, so we really try and put ourselves into the culture and into the location of where we're at.
So we set up the budget that match with the scenario of Southeastern Asian cost of living, and that comes up with $600 a month. However, after we travel for a while, we realized that we way down under the budget for like 30%.
Yeah, we were
from
way
600 down to 400.
Yeah, we weren't sacrificing anything either. Like, we're still eating 3 meals a day. We're still going out and traveling. We're still going to the gym. We'll go out and enjoy the nightlife. We broke it down into main categories. We got some notes here. We broke it down into food and drinks, accommodation, transportation, and the cost of visiting. So for accommodation,
having a traveling buddy is really good to save money. So because we travel together, the cost of accommodation we split in half, and that helped us save a lot of money. However, we saw a lot of people traveling solo. That doesn't mean that you can't save up money. So when you stay in the hostel or homestay, you get a chance to meet a lot of new people.
From Australia.
From Germany. Canada. London. Holland.
And those people can be your traveling buddy.
they're doing the same thing you are, so why don't you pair together and split the cost of everything?
Yeah, we saw a couple of people do that.
Yeah, so spend your time researching. You know, researching something simple could save you a lot of money in the end. For us, when we got our first villa in Ubud, I posted on the Facebook communities. As long as you research everything, you can determine which one will fit in your budget and your likings. And, you know, we put what we wanted to spend, where we wanted it to be, and what we wanted included in the cost. And actually, a lot of people messaged us back.
So the next thing is, we mentioned earlier that we travel in one city for 1 month, and that helps also in terms of budget, because when you rent the accommodation, you tend to get a huge discount. We love to use Airbnb. Right now in Hoi An, we get the discount for like 50%.
It was like 56% for this place. We can show you right here that like you get a very large sum off of your monthly rent if you rent for a full month.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a month though. You might try a week.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're staying more than a couple nights. Food and alcohol especially could eat up your budget tremendously, very fast, especially if you're careless. So what we did when we got to Ubud and we got to Vietnam, we asked our landlord and or a local, and you know, we asked the prices of the things that we wanted to buy, so that we knew when we went to the market or a stand or anywhere like that, we knew what the cost was supposed to be, so we knew we weren't getting ripped off or, you know, scammed. The places you normally purchase and the places we normally shop for food and everything is either the markets, like the morning markets or night markets, or honestly even better is the side carts on the side of the street. They're really cheap. You can get fruits and everything like that for really cheap. So that's normally where we tend to shop.
And when we go out to eat, we normally go to eat where the locals eat.
Every single person kept pointing us down the road, and you literally come to the end of the alleyway and you park your motorbike inside the restaurant.
So it's easy to spot where local is when you ride along the road and then you just see like the restaurant along the way. Yeah, wherever you see locals, especially a lot of local eating there, it can guarantee that that place tend to be first delicious, second tend to be affordable.
A lot of people say, you know, you're in Bali, you're in Vietnam, oh, you can eat out, it's cheaper than eating in. It's wrong. When we go out, we buy like a kilo of chicken, some rice, some eggs, some vegetables, things like that. And with us cooking, we spend like 30,000 rupiah a day on eating, which is, you know, a lot cheaper than it is to eat out. Yeah. But I mean, if you do go eat out, you find the right location, you can eat a meal for 15,000 rupiah.
It's still cheap, but
it's still cheap.
If you cook, it's gonna be like way cheaper still.
Or if you're going out and you're gonna travel, you know, you can do Jimmy style and you just bring some peanut butter and bread. You eat peanut butter and bread.
Do the peanut butter jelly with
It doesn't have to be peanut butter and bread, but whatever you can find.
Bring a snack
in
or
the
something.
grocery store.
Yeah.
When we go out to the grocery store or when we go out to buy beer, sometimes we drink beer, we normally pick the local brand instead of like having
Budweiser imported or something like that.
Instead of having Heineken, we buy Bintang, and this doesn't taste bad, it's still good, like it's local brand. Find the promotional deal. So many restaurants, bars or club that has like promotional deal. Like for example in Bali it's like a Taco Tuesday event at Deuce.
At Davies. We'll show you the video if you want to see it. It's right there.
Yeah, where Jimmy got tattoo beer.
And a taco.
Yeah, for
100,000 rupiah, which is like $7 US. You get a beer, a taco, and a tattoo.
There's so many events like that, you just have to find it out. For transportation,
we normally tend to rent a motorbike. It's just easier because you can go where you want, when you want.
yeah, it's easier, it's way cheaper, it can cut the transportation cost a lot compared to having a personal driver or go with a tour guide.
Don't be in a rush. Take your time when traveling. You know, you can travel by bus or train instead of flying, or moped instead of a taxi. So for the overnight bus, we're taking an overnight bus
from here to Hanoi, to the northern part of Vietnam.
From Hoi An to Hanoi.
And from Vietnam to Laos, first of all, we can save the accommodation cost for that night. We just like sleep on the bus.
Plus you get to see the countryside. We tend to use Uber instead of a local taxi also, if, like you're traveling around here. Uber's just a lot cheaper. I mean in Vietnam or in Thailand or in Bali, 400,000 rupiah for a taxi, a local taxi, where it's like 120, 150 for an Uber. So I mean, you save a lot of money doing it that way.
Yeah, but for like Uber, for example, you just have to know exactly like if you can use Uber in some certain location or not. Like for example, us, like when we come to Vietnam the first day, we thought we can use Uber, but we can't. So we made a traveling mistake by like thinking Uber is allowed everywhere. If you miss,
Uber is not allowed everywhere.
Go.
Yeah, so we'll put the link down here for the mistakes we made when we first got to Vietnam. So just be flexible with your dates, your locations, and everything. We suggest going on Skyscanner. That's what we use. We show you Skyscanner right now. Pick the cheapest month, cheapest day, and you just research. You do some research. And how we go about booking our flights.
And how we get like a flight to the Philippines for so cheap.
Yeah, we paid like $43 for a flight from Thailand to the Philippines. It's like crazy cheap. So for entertainment, for example, when you go into a waterfall, it's like 10,000 rupiah to get into the waterfall, unless you get there early in the morning. And that's what we like to do when we were traveling, and we still do. We wake up early in the morning and do things in the morning because nobody's there collecting money to park. Nobody's there collecting money to get in, and you have the whole place to yourself. It's golden hour, and you have the whole place to yourself. So it's just a little trick. You can travel with a group also. Traveling with a group will cut down on your costs a lot. I mean, just like we said earlier, traveling with a travel buddy helps out a lot, but traveling with a bigger group helps out even more, especially if you're dealing with transportation costs and everything like that.
So as we mentioned earlier that we save a lot of money, but we still go to gym. So we got a gym membership for so cheap because we asked our landlords, if you ask the local where the locals go for some certain thing, you can save money. We pay like 7 times to 10 times cheaper than
the gym
that is setting up in the tourist attraction. So the kids just ask local for some certain thing. And then the last thing, which is really, I think is really important, is about the money exchange topics. So
you were really smart at doing this.
Especially like in Bali, I don't know, it depends on some currency, but for example, US dollars in Bali is really fluctuated. So what we do after 1 month, we notice that, and then what we do the next month is just like don't exchange the money all at once. You just split the sum of money that you have.
$500, and say the first day you need money, so you exchange $100. But you don't exchange all 500, you just exchange 100. Next day, if the price is and the dollar is weak, you don't exchange. If it's stronger again the next day, you exchange. So just don't exchange all your money at once. Make sure you exchange it only when the dollar is high if you can.
Yeah, but that is good for when you stay in that place for the long term. You stay there for like three days, I think it's...
Yeah, you have to exchange it all
Yeah,
at once.
you have to exchange it all at once. But if you stay long term, like 1 month, I think it's good to use these techniques.
So to sum it up, if you're traveling Southeast Asia, you can travel for $400 a month and less if you're going to be, you know, even more strict on your budget than we are.
Yeah, everything is possible.
It's about discipline, about knowing when to spend your money and when to save your money. Everybody has their own budget.
Yeah, so we will recommend you try to make a budget before you start traveling, so then you know exactly like how you should spend, and then so then you can adjust. Like it depends on your lifestyle as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so when you start traveling, and then you can just adjust your budget. Depends on like the scenario and everything's going on.
If you want to see our budget, we'll put it in the description below. It's our Google Docs file that you'll be able to see our budget before we came to Asia. Hopefully this helped you guys out, and you can benefit from this if you decide to start traveling, or if you're already traveling, you can look at our budget and see how we do it. So what we prepped before we actually started our travels. Thank you for watching, guys.
Thank you.